Kunja Vihar. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Kunja Vihari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodhanandana Vrajajana Randana. Yashodhanandana Vrajajana Randana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodhanandana Vrajajana Randana. Yashodhanandana Vrajajana Randana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Yugdharma Harinam Sankirtan ki, Srila Prabhupada ki. Okay, I think that comes in 12th canto. Kuta Punya Punya. Punya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Cheva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye. नस्तप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तेर्भवति नैष्टिके. We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 1, The Advent of Lord Krishna, Introduction. Text 5, 6, 7. So we will recite only first, fifth sloka. पितामहा मे समरे मराङ्ग्नेर् देवाव्रताध्यातिरथस्तिमिङ्गलैः दुरत्ययां कौरवसैन्यसागरम् कृत्वा तरं वत्सपदं स्मयत्प्लवः. पितामहा मे समरे मराग्नेर् देवावृताद्यातिरथस्तिमिङ्गलैः दुरत्ययां कौरवसैन्यसागरम् कृत्वा तरं वत्सपदं स्मयत्प्लवः. पितामहा मे समरे मराग्नेर् देवावृताद्यातिरथस्तिमिङ्गलैः दुरत्ययां कौरवसैन्यसागरम् कृत्वा तरन् वत्सपदं स्मयत्प्लवः. पितामहा मे स्मरणे देवावताद्या So I will read the rest of the slokas. द्रोण्यस्त्र विप्लुष्टम् इदं मद् अङ्गं सन्तानबीजकुरु पाण्डवानां जुगोपकुक्षं गत आतचक्रो मातुश्च मे शरणं गताय वीर्याणि तस्याखिलदेहभाजम् अन्तर्बहिर्पुरुषकालरूपैः प्रयच्छतो मृत्युम् च माया मनुष्याय वदस्य वदस्व विद्वम्. I'll just read translation and purport. Translation purport by doing this A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation. Taking the boat of Krishna's lotus feet, my grandfather Arjuna and other crossed the ocean of the battlefield of Kurukshetra, in which such commanders as Bhishma Dev assembled the great fish that could very easily have swallowed them. By the mercy of Lord Krishna, my grandfathers crossed this ocean, which was very difficult to cross as easily as one step over the half-proved hoof, hoof print of a calf. Because my mother surrendered unto Lord Krishna's lotus feet, the Lord, Sudarshana Chakra in hand, entered her womb and saved my body, the body of the last remaining descendant of the Kurus and the Pandavas, which was almost destroyed by the fiery weapon of Ashwatthama. Lord Sri Krishna, appearing within and outside of all materially embodied living beings by his own potency in the form of eternal time, that is, as Paramatma and as Virata Rupa, gave liberation to everyone, either as cruel death or as life. Kindly enlighten me by describing his transcendental characteristics. Purport. As stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 10:14-58, Samasritaye padapa pallavaplavam mahatpadam punya yasho murare bhavambudervatsa padam param padam padam yad vipadam na tesham. For one who has accepted the boat of the lotus feet of the Lord, who is the shelter of the cosmic manifestation and is famous as Murari, or the enemy of the Mora demon, the ocean of the material world is like the water contained in calf's hoofprint. His goal is Param Padam or Vaikunta, the place where there are no material miseries, nor the place where there is danger at every step. One who seeks shelter at the lotus feet of the Lord Krishna is immediately protected by the Lord. As the Lord promised in Bhagavad Gita 18.66, Aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshashyami ma sucha. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. By taking shelter of Lord Krishna, one comes under the safest protection. Thus, when the Pandavas took shelter at the lotus feet of Krishna, all of them were on the safe side of the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Parikshit Maharaj therefore felt obliged to think of Krishna in the last days of his life. This is the ideal result of Krishna consciousness. Ante Narayana Smriti. If at the time of death one can remember Krishna, one's life is successful. Parikshit Maharaj, therefore, because of his many obligations to Krishna, intelligently decided to think of Krishna constantly during the last days of his life. Krishna had saved the Pandavas, Maharaj Parikshit's grandfathers, on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, and Krishna had saved Maharaj Parikshit himself when he was attacked by Brahmastra of Ashwatthama. Krishna acted as a friend and the worshipable deity of Pandava family. Moreover, apart from Lord Krishna's personal contact with the Pandavas, Krishna is the super soul of all living entities, and he gives everyone liberation, even if one is not a pure devotee. Kamsa, for example, was not at all a devotee, yet Krishna, after killing him, gave him salvation. Krishna consciousness is beneficial to everyone, whether one is a pure devotee or a non devotee. This is the glory of Krishna consciousness. Considering this, who will not take shelter at the lotus feet of Krishna? Krishna is described in this verse as Maya Manushya because he descends exactly like a human being. He is not obliged to come here like karmis or ordinary living beings. Rather, he appears by his own internal energy, Sambha, Sambhavamya Atmamaya, Sambhavami Atmamaya, just to show favor to the fallen conditioned souls. Krishna is always situated in his original position as Satchit Ananda Vigraha, and anyone who renders service to him is also situated in his original spiritual identity, Sarupena Avastiti. This is the highest perfection of human life. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं सागरजातां सगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादां सगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमां विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गं लङ्गायते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदीनतारिणं हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So today I've been said to speak on the gratitude of Maharaj Parikshit, and in 10th canto, first chapter, the gratitude or the gratefulness or of Maharaj Parikshit towards Lord Krishna is being glorified. And Maharaj Parikshit himself talks about how he is obliged to Sukadeva Goswami and how he is obliged to Krishna in different reasons he gives. Especially if you see, Maharaj Parikshit and Sukadeva Goswami had a conversation about the pastimes of the Lord. Until the ninth canto, we can see Sukadeva Goswami elaborately explains about the different planetary systems and different avatars of the Lord, and different dynasties has been explained in a very elaborate way. But at the end of ninth canto, Sukadeva Goswami describes the pastimes of Lord Krishna in two verses. In these two verses, Sukadeva Goswami uh, starts with how Lord Krishna takes birth and how he did pastime and how he ended his pastimes. In two verses, he concludes. Then Maharaj Parikshit was not very satisfied with the two verses of Krishna. So Maharaj Parikshit asks, he says, Vada Vistarat, please elaborately explain or describe briefly about the pastimes of Lord Krishna. In this, in the third sloka, Maharaj Parikshit says, I am very eager, I am very laulyam, I am very eager to hear about the pastimes of Lord Krishna. And Acharyas describes that until unless we don't have that eagerness to hear the Krishna, Krishna will not manifest in our heart. Janmashtami is not only about celebrating the appearance day of the Lord, but Janmashtami is all about eagerness to show that how we want to celebrate in a grand way about his appearance. And it says like no, for a devotee, every day, every moment is Janmashtami. Not that only 19th August is a Janmashtami for a devotee. There's a common festival we celebrate in a large scale, but for a devotee, it's every day, every moment Janmashtami, because he is so much eager to hear, to serve, to know more about Lord Krishna. So for him, it's everyday Janmashtami. So Maharaj Parikshit shows his lot of eagerness to know about Krishna, and he spoke about his history, how he remembers that Lord Krishna was personally there with the Pandavas and helping them in each and every moment. He spoke about his history, that how he remembers when Ashwadhama shot 6 arrows of Brahmastra to kill all the Pandavas, and even Maharaj Parikshit was there in the womb. He witnessed how Lord Krishna entered into the womb and saved him. So he remembered the history and he wanted to know more about it. And he remembers the history of how Krishna was every moment there with them and helping them, protecting them. So he wanted to hear more, and he felt more like obliged, like he felt gratitude to Lord Krishna. Then in that connection, he spoke these 3 verses, 5, 6, and 7 verses. So this is very interesting verses 5, 6, 7. When I was hearing this lecture, it was very, very wonderful narrations by very senior devotees. I don't have much experience. This is the first time I heard about this slokas and pastime. I'm not qualified to jump on 10th canto, but it's been given me instruction to speak. So what I heard, I tried to put it. So in this verse, the first sloka talks about how Lord Krishna was there with the Pandavas all the time and protecting them. Here it is said, in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, there was a lot of soldiers assembled on the side of Kauravas. And here Maharaj Parikshit says, Kaurava Sainya Sagaram. The soldiers or the crowd was there. It was not just like a pond or lake or a river. It was like a sagaram. Is like how was this sagaram? This sagaram was like a duratyaya. So if you see word to word meanings, it was very interesting actually. These Prabhupada gives a lot of meanings in the brackets. If you see here Duratyam, it says very difficult to cross. So this sagaram, which is very vast and very deep, it is very difficult to cross over. And it says like even an expert swimmer, he can't swim and cross over the ocean. And especially if you see when there are ocean, we can see like a lot of sharks, whales, not small fishes. You can see only big fishes over there. And in this situation, when you know that there are a lot of dangerous fishes are there, it's like it's difficult or no one dares to swim across the ocean, right? So here it is said, like in this vast ocean, there are big fishes, and one of the big fishes is called Timingalaihi. It is described. This Timingalaihi is can be understood like this. There is a fish called Timi. This Timi fish, which is of 800 miles wide and 800 miles long. This Timi fish is such a big in an ocean, and this Timi fish can be eaten by Timingala. Timi is a fish, and Gala, the fish which eats Timi and keeps it in his throat, is called Timingala. Means this is a much bigger fish than Timing. So here this great Timingala is described or compared with one great personality called Devavrata. Devavrata is called here Bhishma Dev. In the translation it says, taking the boat of Krishna's lotus feet, my grandfather Arjuna and others crossed the ocean of the battlefield of Kurukshetra, in which such commanders as Bhishma Dev resemble great fish. So this great fish, if you see the like Arjuna was gifted with a Gandiva bow, and he got different quills and arrows from different demigods from higher planetary systems. But it says like, what is the comparison of a Gandiva with a great fish like Bhishma Dev? Bhishma Dev, we every day we go for book distribution. We distribute hardly like 10 books or max 100 books, and we hardly see count like numbers who can did some thousand. We are not talking about small books, we are talking about maha books. But here, what is the score of Bhishma Dev? Every day he used to kill 10,000 maharathis. Maharathis, not atirathis, maharathis. So it's like what is the comparison, like the person who has a Gandiva and a bow, but a person who is killing maharathis, 10,000 maharathis in a day. It's been 10 days till now in Kurukshetra of battle, where the fight is still continuing and Pandavas are not died. The Kauravas commander in chief Duryodhan comes to Bhishma Dev and asks, you are not giving your full heart in this fight. Sometimes we hear from the seniors, like when service is given and we are not up to their mark, then they will say, why don't you put your full heart and do it, especially in cleaning or worshipping or any other services. They put, why you are half-hearted, put your full heart and do. So like this, Duryodhan comes to Bhishma Dev and asks, you are not giving your full heart, you have love towards Pandavas. And Bhishma Dev, he creates 5 arrows to kill Pandavas. And like Krishna tricks here, and to save the Pandavas, he says to Arjuna to go and take those 5 arrows from Dhritarashtra, Duryodhan. So such a big person, like, what is the comparison? Like, the man who has a Gandiva and fighting with the, it's like a boy playing a cricket with Sachin Tendulkar. What a match! Like, there is no match, no comparison at all. We can see, like, the boy will be like, all the time bowled. We can't say, like, the boy will win over Sachin Tendulkar. No, it's hard. There is no comparison. Similarly, here, when Bhishma Devi is compared as a Timingalai, such a great warrior, in front of him, these five Pandavas are no more. But it says, Parikshit Maharaj says, my all grandfathers, Pandavas, Yudhishthir, Bhim, Arjun, Nakal, and Sahadev, they have been saved personally by the Lord because they all are taken shelter at the lotus feet of the Lord. And you see, Kauravas has 11 Akshayonis and Pandavas have only 7. Kauravas army was considered as a big ocean in which we can see big fishes. But in Pandavas, we can't see such a big ocean of soldiers. They are compared to a lake or a small river, where this small group of soldiers are fighting with the big ocean of soldiers. There is no comparison in that. But since they have taken the shelter at the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, this ocean, big ocean, becomes a size of a calf hoof print. Nowadays, we can see in Bangalore there are a lot of rains. We don't know when it rains and when it stops. It's unpredictable. But if you see, mostly here we don't have much cows to see calf hoof prints. So, but if you go to any Goshala, you can see, like, small calves. They made a hoof print, like, where if it rains, the hoof print will be filled with water, muddy water. It's not that difficult for even a child to cross over this water. That's an easy task, right? It's difficult to cross over a lake, river, or ocean is a, like, we can't imagine. But this calf hoof print can be easily crossed. So this such a big ocean of a massacre was is going to happen that can be crossed over by the grandfathers of all the Parikshit Maharaj is saying, just happened because they have taken Krishna's boat of Krishna's lotus feet. So this first sloka talks about that. When we never seen this kind of timingalas which is there in the ocean, but still it's difficult to understand. But it was there before, and now we may not able to see, but they are still there. So when Prabhupada was talking about this, some of his disciples were like, one of his disciple was, Prabhupada was saying, like, there are such a big fishes, such a big eagles, which eagles were used to fly from one planet to another, and they used to eat elephants in one go, as like, snacks. So Prabhupada disciple was not believing that. How can you imagine, like, Timi fish is 800 miles big and 800 miles wide. How can you imagine? It's a big island. If it dies, it will be like a big island. We didn't see, so we don't believe actually. But Prabhupada says, when the disciple asked Prabhupada, how can I believe this? That big fishes and big eagles eating the elephants. How can I believe? Prabhupada says that it's difficult to understand, you are still in mother's womb. It's not that I didn't see means it's not existing. So many people says, right? Show me God. If you don't show God, there is no God. Right? But it's not like that. If you don't see means it doesn't exist. If you see a spider which is there in a cobweb, it creates its home and stays there. Inside in a home, it doesn't have much active senses except sense of touch. The sense of smell, taste, see, it can't have that strong senses, only except sense of touch. If you see, when we make nice delicious aroma item, it least bother whether there is some delicious food here or not. It least bothered about, like, people roaming around, and it can't see, it can't hear what we are discussing here sitting, it can't smell, it only bothers about a insect which is stuck inside that cobweb. It can sense that sense of touch, it can feel, but other than that, it doesn't have any sense. But it's not mean that there is no devotees around because it doesn't see. There is no aroma around, it doesn't smell. Is it so? No. Everything is existing, but it doesn't have that kind of sense, understanding. So Prabhupada says to his disciple that you don't understand, still you are in mother's womb. He says there is lot more to understand, but you will not understand. Prabhupada says. So it's hard to difficult. It's hard to understand. Like, when we see like these big things happening all around. In the next sloka, if you see, so Parikshit Maharaj expressed gratitude, like how Krishna was there all the time with the Pandavas and saving them, helping them. And the next sloka, he talks about himself. He says, Draunya astra vipulustam idam mad angam. He says, Draunya astra. Draunya. Who is here? Draunya. Draunya is a son of Dronacharya. Ashwathama. So he shot 6 arrows. Not normal arrows, the Brahmastras. 5 arrows to kill 5 Pandavas, and 1 arrow towards Parikshit Maharaj, who is there in the womb of Uttara. Why he shot that 6 arrows towards the womb of Uttara? Because here it is said, he is the last remaining descendant of Kuru and Pandavas. To kill the dynasty altogether, Ashwadhama shot last arrow towards Uttara's womb. So it was not difficult to stop 5 arrows, and Pandavas did it. Arjuna did it. But the sixth arrow, which is coming towards Uttara, Krishna personally entered into the womb of Uttara. Here this sloka nicely says, this is Santam Bija Kuru Pandavanam. Santam means I am the Bija, the last Bija, or the last remaining, what we call, descendant of the Kuru dynasty. So to save me, Gupota Kuksham gata ata chakro matuscha meya sharanam gatasya. He says, matuscha meya, my mother Uttara took shelter at your lotus feet, sharanam gatasya. And it says, jugopa kuksham gata ata chakro. It is like jugopa kuksham means like within the womb. Gata ata chakro. Ata means here Krishna, he entered into the womb of Uttara. We can see most of the time Krishna holding flute. With his flute, he charms he attracts all the Vrajavasis and Gopis. But here, Krishna personally entered inside the womb with his chakra, not with the flute. To understand this better, I can give one reference like if I want to go somewhere, I will think many times what to pack, what to carry. Should I carry this? Should I carry this? What if like I want this? What if like I may need this? But if you have a mobile, nowadays technology has increased, right? Especially like we want to refer some books or when you are reading on the journey, no need to carry, like, no, it's good to carry, but it is because of like what you call luggage constraint, like there is a weight limit, we can't carry much. So thanks to the technology where we can access everything in one go in the mobiles, right? So means when you have this device, no need to carry much of your stuff, only you have to carry the basic things which is needed. So it says like when Krishna is there, what is the need for him to carry a chakra to protect him? Is it not Krishna capable to stop this Brahmastra? Is it so? No. But Krishna, he entered with in the womb of Uttara with Sudarshan Chakra, thinking that what if I may need it? Actually, he don't want it. He is not needed. But what if like he was thinking I may need it in case. This shows how he loves his devotees. If you think like Krishna entered Uttara's womb with a chakra, thinking that no, I may need this, I may want this to protect Parikshit. We generally hear this like Krishna saves his devotees. Krishna always serves his devotees, and devotee serves Krishna. That is a reciprocation with each other, Krishna and his devotees, all the time. So here, Parikshit, he may think like Krishna serves his devotees or saves his devotees, and Krishna saved me. Means I am what? I am his devotee. But Parikshit Maharaj didn't say this. He was so humble. He says, Matascha me ya sharanam gatasya. He says, I am not a devotee. My mother is devotee. And my mother took shelter of Krishna to protect me. When Uttara run towards Krishna, asking for the protection, not for herself, and for her womb, but she begged protection for the child, not for herself. That is the greatness of a devotee. I heard in this class from the senior devotee saying that Lord will protect us when devotees praise us for us. If we pray, maybe or may not be, Lord protect us. But Lord will definitely protect us when devotees praise for us. So here Parikshit Maharaj is giving credit to his mother, saying that I am not a devotee. He's taking the humble position, since even though if you see this entire Bhagavatam was available because of Parikshit. Their entire pastimes of different incarnations of Lord has been heard or been able to hear because of Parikshit Maharaj. And actual in the 10th canto, actual discussion or the actual advent of Lord Krishna starts from the next verse, from the 8th verse from the first chapter. It is because of Parikshit Maharaj. And thanks to our Srila Prabhupada, who has written this and made it available for all of us. If Parikshit Maharaj is not there or Srila Prabhupada was not there, then we may not be able to practice Krishna consciousness or hear or relish these pastimes of Krishna consciousness, about the pastimes of Lord Krishna. It's very difficult. So you can see Maharaj Parikshit, a pure devotee of the Lord, but still he takes his position, humble position, that he declares that Lord Krishna entered into the womb to protect me because I am not a devotee, because my mother, who is a devotee, who has taken shelter of the Lord Krishna. It's clear that we progress in bhakti not because of our own endeavor, it is because of the prayers of the devotees. Srila Prabhupada and his grand disciples and disciples and all the devotees who are all around, they all pray for us. So only we are here practicing Krishna consciousness. That's why we say, right, His grace, her grace, His divine grace. We say Srila Prabhupada, His divine grace. Because of their grace, we are able to practice Krishna consciousness. Because of mother's grace, Parikshit Maharaj was so much oblique to Krishna that he has been saved by him. In this way, Maharaj Parikshit was feeling very, very grateful and gratitude towards Lord Krishna. And in the next sloka, on our personal note, we can't recite this sloka, This is very hard to understand this sloka. Only Maharaj Parikshit can do this, or great pure devotees can do this. If you read this translation, like last sloka, Lord Sri Krishna appeared within and outside of all materially embodied living beings by his own potency in the form of eternal time. This is as Paramatma and as Virata Rupa gave liberation to everyone, either as cruel death or as life. Kindly enlighten me by describing his transcendental characteristics. In the first and second sloka, this was a history which is being spoken by Parikshit Maharaj. What he has saw. First one was he expressed gratitude that Lord Krishna has saved his grandfathers and his whole dynasty, Pandava. And in the next verse, he spoke about himself, how Lord Krishna protected him, and he expressed that gratitude towards Krishna. And in the last sloka, he says that Krishna is so merciful, he comes to protect me at the time of my death, which is going to be arrived. He's talking about his future, not even present. He's talking about his future. And Maharaj Parikshit says Lord Krishna is so merciful that he comes to me to protect in the form of Kala, time. It's difficult to understand or to, like, at the time of death, most of the materialistic people, if you talk about death and all, they say it is very inauspicious. You should not talk. But it's a fact that who are all taken the birth, they have to die. They are not eternal or mortal beings. They have to die at one day. It says, like, as soon as you take birth, the death date also been written, expiry date. We comes with a expiry date. So here, but people, they generally become fearful to hear about the death. But here Parikshit Maharaj was not at all fear, because he thinks, he understands that Lord Krishna, he comes as an eternal time to kill him, to take him away. So in that way, he says, like, we can understand, like, devotees are all the time Krishna conscious, we say. So this is an example where Maharaj Parikshit was showing to us, at the time of death also, he is seeing Krishna. In Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna also says, Kalosmi Aham. It's like he comes in the form of death to take away all what we have. So here Maharaj Parikshit is taking in a positive side. Like Krishna, death anyhow, we can't avoid it. So it's going to become within 2 days. It's going to come, and Parikshit Maharaj has been going to bitten by the Takshak. So there is no chance of escaping now. So he takes the shelter of Lord Krishna, saying that Krishna is coming as an eternal time to kill me. And he positively embracing this fact. Now we see, like, some of the words in a dictionary, opposite words. Like a friend is a F, 6 letters. Enemy is also 6 letters. Is opposite. Sad is 3 words, or cry 3 words, but joy opposite is 3 words. Positive is a 8 words. Negative is also 8 words. So in this way, if you see some of the opposites, they are like, means both the sides, like, but we have an option to choose which side to want to take. If you want to be happy, then why you want to be a sad? You want to be a joy, then why you want to be sad? So in this way, Maharaj Parikshit, in his, like, the final stage, instead of taking a negative side, he is taking positive side, thinking that even my death is a mercy of Lord Krishna. That was like, devotees all the time, they see Krishna in each and every moment. In this way, he is feeling a lot of gratitude towards Krishna. Prabhupada very nicely says in the purport, Maharaj Parikshit, therefore, because of his many obligations to Krishna, intelligently decided to think of Krishna constantly during the last days of his life. It is said, until unless we don't remember what duty is done, then we don't be grateful or obliged or gratitude. We can't express it. But the problem of this Kali Yuga is, Kali Yuga's nature is forgetfulness. We forget what we received from the devotees. So it's a very important, even recently, few days back, when one senior brahmachari who came, he was saying us like, it's good to remember our initial brahmachari days. Because at the time of initial brahmachari days, we are so enthusiastic, so determined to serve the devotees, so enthusiastic to do services, to execute services in each and every what we call detail. We go and we do it. So it's very good to remember those initial days. So it's also like, that remembrance is very important. We should remember what others have did to us. So here Maharaj Parikshit was uh, the third verse talks about that, like, how he is obliged to Krishna. And in the last, finally, he said fourth obligation to Sukadeva Goswami also, that Lord Krishna, I am very obliged to Lord Krishna at the time of my death. He sends pure devotee Sukadeva Goswami to save me from this death. So it's very important to remember what each and every devotee is doing to us. So as we say, like, there are two choices, either to think in a negative or in a positive, which side to take. So it's a better to have a positive side all the time and feel very much gratitude or obliged to the devotees who are praying for us, who are helping us, and who are giving all the time guidance to us. So in this way, this 5, 6, 7, 3 verses talks about how Maharaj Parikshit was feeling very much obliged to Lord Krishna in different ways. So finally, in the purport, Prabhupada says how merciful Lord Krishna is. Krishna consciousness is beneficial to everyone, whether one is a pure devotee or a non-devotee. Even though, yes, like we are all practicing Krishna consciousness, definitely we'll be getting a lot of benefit. But here it says Krishna consciousness is so great that, means Krishna is so great, so merciful that even for a non-devotees also he is beneficial. So, but we should think in a positive way that, better to be safe side, be a Krishna conscious devotee all the time, and practice Krishna consciousness and be under the Krishna's shelter. So thinking all the time, like, how grateful we are to Srila Prabhupada and Lord Krishna and these acharyas who are there, who helped us to understand Krishna. In that way, when you perform devotional service, then definitely, like, Lord will be very much pleased. Now, Lord is not, especially you can say, Lord Krishna is very details. He goes into details. So I heard in the lecture, like, when you take shortcuts, Krishna don't like it. But when you take service and execute in each and every details, taking care of each and everything, not that, I do this service and I'm just focused and other things I just neglect, then Krishna's mercy will not get it. To get Krishna's mercy, we should go into details, even though it is a small service or a big service. Don't take shortcuts. When we are doing Krishna Janmashtami services, don't take shortcuts. That doesn't please Lord Krishna. Rather, we can go into each and every service which are being assigned to us, take very details, go into details. Result, Krishna is also not bothered whether you are successful in executing that or not. But he sees the nature or the behavior of a devotee. how detailed he is in. So it's very important, like when it's like Krishna is giving a lot of mercy to even non-devotees, and we are devotees, when we are taking practicing Krishna consciousness, definitely we'll get a lot of benefit, and Krishna will be very merciful to us. But more mercy when we get when we goes into details and execute each and every services very nicely. So in that way, like we can be involved all the time thinking about Krishna. There are so much things to describe this sloka. This three sloka is not that easy to finish it, but I don't have much experience, so I just heard what I just said what I heard. So maybe devotees can add more or any corrections or comments.
So this question is how Krishna Katha can help in difficult situations and can be the remedy for the problems of the world.
Obviously, when in the previous slokas, some of the devotees they say like Krishna's pastimes or Krishna kathas are so nourishable that even though if you heard it, still you'll feel like I want to hear more and more. And obviously, when we hear the pastimes of Lord Krishna, there are so many places where Krishna kills so many demons, right? So those demons represent anarthas. So when we hear those pastimes very nicely from a like pure devotee, that also will help us to come out of anarthas which we have. So even though if you don't think like yes, this may not help me, but still if you just focus on Krishna katha and relish it and invite Krishna in your heart, then Krishna will take care of that. Whatever anarthas or whatever difficulties, problems we are going through, he'll take care. But importance should be given to the Krishna katha. And when any senior devotee is speaking about like we have on Sunday Maharaj coming, so when we hear from the realized souls, so definitely there will be purification of heart. In Bhagavatam, I think there is a sloka. Is there like it will purify our heart when we hear the Krishna katha. So with that we can see like definitely we'll be out of problems. Maybe- Okay. We'll end class. Granraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Anant Koti Vaishnava ki.